Stoicism takes the position that theoize man, the good man, the philosopher is a man who lives in accordance with nature. He fiercely abdicating his moral responsibility. He is not afraid of pain. He is not afraid of death. He is not afraid of oath. He is not afraid of any of the vicissitudes of the human condition. He fears only that he should let himself down, and then should be less than a complete human being. The philosopher Marcus Aurelius was one of the founding fathers of Stoicism, and he is famous for his book Meditations. The idea of being a great man is kind of nebulous, but there is perhaps no single person in history who has ever been more deserving of that title. This is not a self-help video, it promises you that, but the philosophy that Marcus what pioneered and wrote about can be an antidote to so many of the problems that we encounter in modern life. I want to show you Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor. Served from 161 AD to 180 AD, he waged last of the so-called Five Good, and served over a period known as the Pax Romana or the Roman Peace. In fact, when Marcus Aurelius died, the Pax Romana ended. Aurelius, when he was emperor, was the most powerful man in the world. The Romans basically had no concept of the globe outside of their empire, so as far as he was concerned, Marcus was effectively ruler of the world. In this position, he could have an inhumaned president had been said. The life of a Roman emperor was basically synonymous with hedonism. That was what Roman emperors did. They indulged in many sex, wine, and any other pursueth it even vaguely occurred to them. It was practically expected, so any Vichethi mind could have possibly considered as directly within reach for Marcus Aurelius. He was entirely unbound by custom or even ethics. No one and nothing would stop him from realizing his wildest desires, but even in those limitless circumstances, Marcus Aurelius chose a life of virtue. He chose to be a good man, and not just in one instant or on any occasion, but every day for all 19 years of his time as emperor. Marcus Aurelius was a fundamentally good man. Being good doesn't make you a great person, but imagine staring down the beast of truly unlimited fantasies and declaring, no, I choose virtue not for the sake of praise or fame or admiration, but just for the sake of buying good that is impressive. I mean, consider the circumstances, and consider if you were in those circumstances for almost 20 years, could you consistently day in and day out overcome the monster of temptation, knowing that there would be no ramifications whatsoever? No matter what you choose to do, what would you do, or would you act? I know I couldn't follow the example set by Marcus Aurelius, and we know it was a true example because when no one was looking, that's when Marcus was at his best. Meditations is a book written by Marcus Aurelius. Well, it's not really a book, it was Marcus Aurelius's personal journalist book. It's basically Marcus navigating his way through life. It has no real, aside from being vaguely divided into 12 parts, and it's only about 150 pages. Meditations is the title that publishers have prescribed to which writings had no title. They were never intended to be read, much less published by any person at any point other than Marcus himself. They were Marcus Aurelius's deepest confessions and beliefs. With that in mind, Meditations is immensely revealing as tough character of its writer, because again, Aurelius wasn't writing this for anyone but himself. But despite this, seemingly off-the-cuff nature, Meditations is one of the most powerful and most poignant books ever put to paper. Undoubtedly, the best thing to do is read Meditations for yourself. There are copies of it in almost every single library and bookstore in the country, maybe the world, but for the purposes of this video, there are a few purposes in there I think are really worth examining. Music. Marcus Aurelius believed in living in accordance with nature. By nature, Aurelius was referring to the plants and, yes, but also to the natural order of the universe. Trees grow because that's what they're made to do. They grow as big as they can and become as beautiful as they can, not because they want praise or are looking for some external validation, but instead, they grow to be powerful and awe-inspiring because that's what they're made to. It is the natural order. A caterpillar becomes a butterfly, a frail featherless becomes an eagle, not because they want to, but because they are created to. In the same way, Marcus believed that the entity of a human was to fulfill their potential. He did not believe in accumulating things or riches. And we'll talk about that later, or being awarded or given accolades. Nature had made you a human, and with that in mind, It was your duty on this earth to be the kindest, most virtuous human that you can possibly be for Marcus. This is the pinnacle of human achievement and unfulfilled potential. That was the darkest place you could sink to after all. You can't control anything else. You can control what the world throws your way, but you can control how you react, and no matter what happens, a great person weathers the storm and lives up to their fullest, most virtuous potential. That is your duty as a human. Marcus Aurelius was an emperor, so although may have enjoyed sitting around writing all day, that wasn't his job, and it didn't write very much. He had to deal with a lot of things and a lot of people above all else. Marcus believed that evil, wicked, or just somehow bad people were simply part of our universe. Asking thorns to not present you with these people would be like asking a vine to exist without thorns. Don't be ridiculous. There's simply nothing you can do. Marcus says bad people exist, and in your life will encounter them. Marcus believed in kindness though, and he believed that people didn't ever want to do the wrong thing. Instead, when people did the wrong thing, it was simply out of ignorance. You can try to teach these people, sure, but it's just not always going to be an option. So we can't control if universe sends us the immoral or the wicked or the lazy, and if we can't also help these people, which usually we can't, just have to put up with it. And to Dothus, Marcus says you should look inward. Writes to himself, hey Marcus, you've got faults too. Who are you to judge? Maybe you have different faults than these so-called bad people, but Marcus, you have your faults nevertheless. In a different conversation on a different day, perhaps you, Marcus, would be ignorant one, and Marcus, it's possible that you just don't understand. He told himself, hey, you can't even be sure that you're doing the wrong thing. The thief who steals to feed his family isn't wrong. You just don't understand, and in life you won't understand, and you won't know that you don't understand. So again, don't judge. Ultimately, Marcus Aurelius believed that we were all born for each other. Over and over, he reminded himself that is the natural order. A tree grows fruit, so animals can eat animality, so that worms have food. Just like in the natural world, we are all made to help each other. That is again our duty. Only true failure in life would better abdicate this responsibility. So Marcus, you better do it, and you bet it will all go through adversity. And Marcus Aurelius was no exception, but dislike encountering bad people. Marcus Aurelius thought encountering adversity is simply part of the human condition. Again, you can only control what you can control, so don't pray for bad things not to happen. That is a fool's errand. Marcus told himself those things are going to happen, and there's positively absolutely thing you can do about it. But what you can control, Marcus, is you can control how you react to them. You can control if you are ready to meet adversity when it comes, and it will. Marcus says, you know that it will when that day arrives. Don't be sad because something bad happened. Don't feel bad for yourself. Don't mope. Instead, feel fortunate that you have the tools and the spirit to make it through unscathed. Marcus tells himself, birth these events as a brave man, go through adversity with bravery, and come out on the other side. When you do realize that the supposedly bad thing was not bad at all, it was simply an opportunity to persist, to rise above, to keep going forward. Marcus Aurelius says, when these events come, don't complain, act, endure. Can either endure something or you can't. So what happens if and when such an endurable thing comes your way? Yourself, Marcus. He says all men die, but not all men die. Complaining. Marcus Aurelius was a man of enormous wealth, but he did not believe this was inherently a problem. Marcus did not vilify material possession like some other philosophers have, but instead he was cautious with his relationship to the things that he owned. Marcus Aurelius could have had anything. He wanted money, houses, art, wine, but he chose not to. Instead, he said, Marcus, don't dream of physical things that you want. These are meaningless. They didn't fulfill your potential. Only you can do that. Reflect on what you do have and value these things. Remember how much you would want them if you didn't have them. But be careful, Marcus. He tells himself not to value them so much that he would be despondent if they just disappeared. They don't matter, they renish, but they don't matter. They don't improve you as a person. They don't make you more virtuous or more kind. Your potential is not accumulating things. Marcus, no, the human potential is higher than that. You must live in a nature. Marcus Aurelius spent a lot of his time thinking about death, so much so that it would be impossible to make this video without discussing his opinions on subject and his views on death. Whereof is simple, it's coming whether you like it or not. He tells himself time and time again it's outside of your control, so don't waste your time, fearing death, offering over mortality, just like nature has assigned us to be good to help Onenatha and to reach our fullest potentials. Nature has assigned us to die. Death is a duty, so while you're here live, be kind, be good, fulfill your role in nature and then die, because death is also part of that role. Marcus Aurelius, along with a couple of other men, was a forebearer of the philosophy known as Stoicism. The Stoics believed in many things their school of thought covers: logic, ethics, physics, and a whole lot more, but there is a distinction that lies at the core of the Stoic philosophy, the distinction of leisure versus happiness, money, fame, even success. Were external stimuli that provided fleeting moments of pleasure, but this wasn't happiness. Happiness was not so temporary. The concept of happiness wasn't that more, it was a state of being that came entirely from within. It didn't come from being an emperor like Marcus Aurelius, didn't come from any worldly things. The Stoics said to achieve a happiness, you should live a life of virtue. You should continue to better yourself and become all that you possibly can. The only failure, the only true pain, the only true sadness, the only thing worth fearing is to let yourself down by not achieving your potential. Because and only because being great is your duty. Being great is in your very natural ethos.